Good morning, West Shore. Good morning, West Shore. I'm Reverend Anthony Makar, Senior Minister of this amazing community. This is In Gathering. Yes, that's right. We have been far and distant or maybe near at home or whatever we happen to do during the summer, but it is time for us to come back together and to feel the power of this community as we start a new program year. We have all sorts of exciting things planned for this program year, and it's just wonderful to be able to start with a big bang. About 6 months ago, Dave Blazer and I started to plan for In Gathering, and one of the thoughts that came to my mind is, what could the sound of In Gathering be? What could be a distinctive sound? And I was like, Dave, right? Brass, the sound of brass. So we are glad to welcome Solid Brass from Lorain County here. I hope you enjoyed them playing in the Rotunda. And my hope is that this becomes a part of our tradition. Every time we ingather, that is the sound of our joy as we are coming together. So I want to welcome you again this morning with our two worship associates, Elizabeth Jerenser and Vicki Ward, and we welcome you to this community of joyful faith. This church, we strive to be multicultural. We strive to be anti-racist, anti-oppressive. Our church community invites everyone to be present in the richness of their full self, your age, your experiences, your race, your gender, your sex, your sexual orientation, your socioeconomic status, abilities, disability, everything that makes you uniquely you. You are welcome here. And you know, every Sunday we say this, but on In Gathering, we express this invitation in a very special way in the form of our annual water communion. And we're going to see that water communion ritual at the around the end of our service today. But right now I want you to know that if you wish to participate, you'll want to have some water in hand. And you might want to put that water beside you or on the floor as we wait for the ritual later on in the service. But if you want to participate, you don't have any water right now, there's some water out there in the rotunda that you can get right now if you want to do that. Or you can leave during the greeting time and then come right back. Don't leave, just come right back. But just to say, if you want to participate in that ritual. I want to share two announcements right now, very briefly. One has to do with our community picnic happening right after service. It will last until 1:30, something like that. Everyone is welcome to be a part of our community picnic. There's going to be fabulous food. There will be musical desserts. I hear the rumor of that. There's going to be a cotton candy lady. Can you believe that? What is happening here? Games galore, all sorts of good food. There is also a rumor of a pieing the senior minister, throwing pie at the senior. That will not happen indoors. I don't want to freak out the aesthetics team. That will not happen indoors. That's going to be out in the rotunda. So, you know, that's going to happen too. So it's going to be fun. I love that. It's just going to be joyful. And then, this coming Thursday, I want everyone to know about a wonderful program, our Thursdays at West Shore. Like, give that a round of applause. Thursdays at West Shore. It's such a great program. Oh my God, thank you, Barbara Walker, our lay minister, who actually we will be commissioning to 3 years of service in October 9th, something like that. So that's going to be great. You'll want to come for that. But this Thursdays at West Shore, the focus is on radical hospitality and how we can offer that for ourselves and for others. And Charlie Farrell is going to be here. He is going to be demonstrating the Time Slips storytelling program that's used with folks who have dementia. So please join us on Thursday. Dinner will be from Aladdin's before the service. Please register today after the service. Go out there in the rotunda. Take a look, talk to Barbara Walker. Barbara, raise your hand, let everybody know who you are. Talk to her, register for that wonderful program. Once again, I'm just so glad to see everyone here this morning. Happy ingathering.
One of the most recognizable symbols we have as Unitarian Universalists is our Flaming Chalice. Every service we light it. But why? The story begins with World War II and the Unitarian Service Committee, founded to assist Eastern Europeans escaping Nazi persecution, including Jews and Unitarians. The work was cloak and dagger, involving a secret network of couriers and agents. What the World Service Committee needed was a system of signs and countersigns that people could immediately recognize as trust. Enter the Flaming Chalice. It was commissioned by Service Committee head Charles Joy, who described it as a chalice with a flame, the kind of chalice which the Greeks and the Romans put on their altars. The holy oil burning in it is a symbol of helpfulness and sacrifice. So we light our chalice every Sunday in honor of all our Unitarian Universalists' ancestors who heroically paved the way, in honor of a future of love and justice that we hope to create, and in honor of the present moment, the gifts we have to give the community here and now.
Let us witness to the unity of our spirit by saying together our unison affirmation words. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. El amor es el espíritu de esta iglesia, y el servicio suele, este nuestro magnífico convenio, vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad en amor y darnos los unos a los otros.
This land acknowledgement that we just sang is important for us as a community of faith, which is covenantal in nature. This is one of the things that makes us as Unitarian Universalists unique and distinct in the larger world of all the religions out there. A covenant is a relationship in which we promise something to each other. We promise to care for one another and to make amends for harms done. When you become a part of this community, that is what you promise to do, and it includes mourning the legacies of oppression. It includes believing that joy is the birthright of all. From the distant and near past, we learn our lessons, and we go forward, doing the best we can, the best we know how. So we are a people of covenant. Our desire is to extend compassion to each other, especially in those moments where relationships may feel strained. We strive to give each other the benefit of the doubt. We each do our best to remember that we're all on a learning journey, and no one is perfect, and each of us has a precious piece of the puzzle, and we want all the pieces to come together. In covenant, we find the meaning of of our community. So now, as a people of covenant, let us greet each other right now as feels mutually good. So right now. So let's come back to our service from our greeting time. Have y'all ever heard about herding cats? This is the moment. This is it right here. Herding cats. So we're gonna start our hymn, our first hymn of the day. And I want to say that this hymn we are about to sing together, some folks have called it Unitarian Universalism's version of Amazing Grace. This is our version of Amazing Grace, Spirit of Life. Number 123, please rise in body or spirit. We're going to sing it twice. The first time is with the booming sound of the organ, big. And then the second time, softer, quieter, a cappella. So let's sing Unitarian Universalism version of Amazing Grace, Spirit of Life.
Good morning. Excuse me. I'm Kathy Strasser, and I stand here as a member of one of the most amazing groups here at West Shore, the Pastoral Care Team. You may well know us. You may be one of the 80 church members and friends we served this past year. We listened to you, sent cards and emails, and visited you at home, at the hospital, and at rehab. We laughed and we cried with you. And yes, then we listened some more. You may have seen our pastoral care announcements about members' joys and sorrows in the Friday e-news. Perhaps you've noticed that our team members have a table in the rotunda every Sunday for your pastoral care needs and questions. We are grateful for the support of our 2 parish nurses. You may not have seen our shiny new community resources brochure in the pamphlet rack outside the office. Take one. They're free. They're free, and they're loaded with descriptions and contact information for both in-church and Westside community resources. This booklet can also be found on the church's website. So if you'll go to WSUUC's website to Pastoral Care, and there it will be for you to read, print, download, whatever you'd like. I serve on the pastoral care team because I experience connection and compassion every time you share your journey, the easy and the hard parts, with me. I will not forget your joy of learning you'll be a first-time parent. I will not forget your fear of a medical diagnosis. I will not forget that you lost someone you loved most of all. You teach me what it means to be human, and I am so grateful for that. I serve with 16 pastoral care team members who I know would readily agree with what I've just said. You might have noticed their photos and their brief bios are in the pamphlet that was tucked inside today's order of service. We also recently added 3 new team members: Rachel Abernathy, Donna Evans-Diamond, and Terry Risk. Any of us would be happy to provide you with pastoral care, and we'd be delighted to hear from any of you who might be interested in joining our team. The pastoral care team receives good support from Reverend Anthony, the Caring and Community Council, the church staff, and members like you who care for your own church friends when they're in need. The bottom line, though, is that the pastoral care team, like all the wonderful groups at our church, exist only because West Shore Unitarian Universalist Church exists. The amount of our time, our talent, and our treasure truly matter when we want to maintain and support existing groups and to nurture promising new groups and opportunities. I think this feels right. I think this feels good. This morning's offering will now be given and most gratefully received.
So some years ago, writer Adam Gopnik of the New Yorker shared this story about his 3-year-old daughter's imaginary friend. The name she gave her imaginary friend was Charlie Ravioli. And Charlie Ravioli was always too busy to play. So one day, Adam Gopnik and his wife watched their little girl punch a number into her imaginary cell phone. She put it to her ear and said, "Ravioli, meet me at Starbucks in 25 minutes. And then they saw her crumple. "Well, what happened, sweetie?" they asked. She said, "He already had another appointment." It happened time and again. They'd see her pick up the phone, call her imaginary playmate, only for her to come away deflated. He canceled lunch again. Still other times, Charlie Ravioli's imaginary secretary, Lori, had a name, Lori, imaginary secretary. Lori would answer the imaginary phone, only to say, "Not today, he's in a meeting." Charlie Ravioli was always too busy to play. And this is how one 3-year-old prepared herself for life in what journalist George Monbiot calls the age of loneliness, which is our age, which is right now, down to the deepest part of this 3-year-old's life, the deepest part, her imagination, down to her deepest part. She reconciled herself with being left out. She was preparing herself to miss out on friendship and fun, and also being known by others, being seen, being heard. All the lonely people, where do they all come from? You'll sing that with me. All the lonely people, where do they all come from? I want to know the answers to that. Where do they all come from? And why? Why are there so many lonely people? A significant part of the answer comes from a book entitled The Lonely American by 2 medical doctors, Jacqueline Olds, MD, Richard Schwartz, MD. Loneliness emerges, they say, out of what they call a push-pull social dynamic. A push-pull social dynamic. The push is how modern life makes us all over-busy, over-scheduled, hyper-networked also, glued to screens, glued to email, glued to social media. And as for the pull, it's the culture of American individualism, which honors the self-made person and which also shames those who are not self-reliant. Does this push-pull dynamic make sense to you? Can you recognize this in your own life? Olds and Schwartz go on to say, as a culture, we all romanticize standing apart and standing alone, and we all long to have our destiny in our own hands. But as individuals, each of us hates feeling left out. Now, why we hate it, the precise scientific reason why, takes a few moments to explain. I want us to start with the part of our brains deep in the frontal cortex. It's part of a complex alarm system. It's called the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex. This part of our brains, it is primed to protect you, protect me, protect us. It acts whenever there is any hint of some kind of threat to your safety, to your well-being. You stub your toe, that alarm system goes off, and the physical pain that you are feeling is part of that alarm. Slam your fingers, shutting a door, and the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex howls, "Make this horrible feeling stop!" And of course, the pain that is radiating, the excruciating pain that's radiating in your fingers, It's also part of that system. It is really wanting you to pay attention and to make sure you don't do that thing again. Stay away. The dorsal anterior cingulate cortex in your brain is all about keeping you alive. But did you know, by the way, just as a side note, do you hear that sound? That baby? That's the sound of a growing church. I want you to go to that. Anytime you hear that, go, woo, that's the sound of a growing church. Woo! All right, back to the sermon. Back to the sermon. So, what I want to know is, did you know that loneliness is yet another trigger for this alarm system I'm talking about? And that may seem strange because loneliness is completely unlike stubbing your toe or slamming your fingers when shutting a door. Loneliness does not literally come with a literal punch to the gut or burning your hand on something hot. And yet our brains have evolved in such a way as to want to preserve a sense of belonging to a larger group, because over millions of years that has proven to be crucial to our well-being. When you stay with the tribe, your chances of survival are a heck of a lot better than when you isolate and you go on your own. Chances of survival worse. Scientists have devised experiments to prove that this is so, that when a person is feeling separated from the larger group, when that sense of belonging is threatened, the brain's alarm system goes off, resulting in literal body pain. The pain of loneliness is nothing to underestimate. That's why we hate the feeling of being left out. And yet, the push-pull social dynamic has us in its grip. The push-pull is that strong. The push, again, is that we feel we don't have time to belong. We can't make the time to belong. Americans make a virtue out of busyness for reasons of capitalism and competitiveness, and God helps those who help themselves. Calvinism. Olds and Schwartz say that surveys done by Gallup and the Conference Board indicate that Americans who already take fewer vacation days than workers in any other industrial nation of the world, these American workers, they're wanting to cut back vacation days even further. And the push dovetails with the pull, which is our culture's idolatry of rugged individualism, of standing apart from the crowd, of doing it yourself, of going it alone, of self-reliance, of owning all your own appliances and tools and instruments and never having to borrow, right? To fail at this is to be judged as lazy, incompetent, immoral, wrong in some way, which of course results in humiliation, which only leads to more pain. And there's even more on top of that, the stigma that is put on loneliness. To admit that you are lonely is to risk being heard as whiny and needy, even though being honest about your loneliness is absolutely the first step towards healing. Push-pull, right? Push-pull. No wonder Charlie Ravioli is everywhere. No wonder. Despite all the ways in which the body warns us with literal physical pain and other consequences that come from that, serious ones. The pain of loneliness takes a person into all sorts of forms of unhappiness. This hidden pandemic of loneliness gives rise to impaired health, increased aggression and violence, increased rates of crime, decreased lifespans. But you know, when an organism is in constant pain, as lonely people are, well, why are we surprised that that is going to happen? Being Charlie Ravioli is perilous. But we can do something about this. Stop giving all our life energy to busyness and lone rangerism. Revise our stewardship of our time and talent and treasures. Olds and Schwartz say, and I quote, "In our advice to the lonely, we often emphasize a time-honored approach. Try to engineer into our life regular contact and shared projects with potentially interesting people." It's the old join a church choir strategy. Unquote. I did not put that in their mouths. I know Dave likes that, right? It's good. We actually have 6 new members of our choir. Did you know that? It's the old join a church choir. The only thing I'd add to this is you might consider joining other church groups too. The same principle is active there. Allow yourself the time to get involved or more involved in this beloved community. Make yourself available. COVID has disrupted the church-going habit for so many people. And if you're one of these, maybe you're on the fence about coming back. Again, listen to what Olds and Schwartz say. Loneliness is even worse now after COVID. And so rebuilding the church-going habit is going to bring healing. It really is worth it. I mean, look around you. Don't these folks look potentially interesting? Maybe some more than others, maybe, I don't know. Don't they? And what about that picnic after church? The musical desserts, the pie throwing at the senior minister? Come on, potentially interesting? Very interesting. But we just have to be more intentional today with what we do with our time and our talent and our treasure in this age of loneliness and push-pull. We have to become more intentional in our stewardship. What's at stake is our hearts and souls. Or else we just become Charlie Raviolis. That's what we do to each other. It just happens. And there's fewer opportunities to play. And it is heart-killing. It is painful in a literal sense. Today, we're talking about how to turn loneliness around. And we have to do that for each other. I invite us to do that for ourselves and for each other. You know, as we close, I want to share with you like a visual reminder of the sorts of things I'm talking about here, just to highlight this message about stewardship. So I don't know if you've had a chance to take a look here, but here are 3 big quartz crystals, rose quartz, right? And I want each of these crystals to represent what is meaning-making in our lives, our hearts and minds, the health of our bodies, spiritual vitality, soul, right? That's what these crystals represent. And as for the sorts of things that bring this into our lives, so many. Good relationships, for sure. Love and caring, maybe serving on the pastoral care team, right? Things that enliven and rejuvenate. Good food and exercise and sleep, efforts by which you improve your little corner of the universe. Maybe it's a certain church in Rocky River, Ohio, named West Shore, that helps to bring this crystal experience of meaning into your world. Of course, the question becomes, what happens? What happens when other things take up too much space in our lives? I want you to consider these pebbles. I got them at Home Depot, and I promise you they are extremely grimy. They are grimy. And I want them to experience the grimy parts of our lives, the daily grind. Got it? The daily grind. The things in our lives that are primarily about maintenance. Doing the dishes, taking out the trash, taking the kids to soccer, changing the cat litter, right? I would also add keeping up with what's happening in the daily news, right? That can be really gritty. I'm not saying this stuff doesn't have to get done. I think it ought to get done. But if we allow it to take over our lives, we really do find ourselves demoralized, and our hearts really take a hit, drained, right? No room. No room. Okay, now here's the hard part. Oh my God. All right. Pardon me. So, but what about this right here? Kitty litter. This is kitty litter. Now, for me, kitty litter represents the things in our lives that don't really matter much at all, or things that actively work against meaning, the ways in which we just kill time, right? Think about those ways in which we just are killing time, whatever that might look like. Maybe it's when we are actively indulging our worries. We're just like on this. We're just gripped by these stories of worry in our heads. Even though, as Mark Twain said, I've had a lot of worries in my life, most of which have never happened, right? But we just... Or what about those times when we're just gripped by this story that we keep telling ourselves about this person who hurt us, and they intentionally knew what they were doing. They knew exactly what the pain was that they were going to be causing us. They knew it, and we spin and spin at this story in our heads, and it grips us for 5 minutes or for 5 years. Come on. No room. No room. No room. Stewardship. This one's better planned out. Hope so. Dave, I'm going to blame you when Debbie's like, what the hell happened to the sanctuary? I really came in practice yesterday. Honestly, I did, but whatever. So, see, stewardship is about how we put the things that truly bring us meaning and health for our bodies and spirits and souls. We make time for that first. We have to clear a space. We have to be disciplined in that. We've got to put that stuff in first. We make that our life priority. A part of what it means to be a member of this church or a friend or a visitor or whatever is to be reminded of that constantly, because we just need each other. I don't know about you, but I am absolutely no saint, and my girlfriend can attest to that pretty powerfully, but whatever. Hey, stop that. She's just like, yeah, he's no saint. Blah. But it's just, we got to remind ourselves, good stewardship. Make that a priority, because you know what? We got to take care of maintenance stuff. We're going to have to do that. We got to answer those emails. We really do need to, pay attention to the news. Maybe it doesn't dominate our every waking moment, but we have got to know what's going on. I mean, we've got to clean the cat litter. Trust me, that's important. I mean, we got to wash the dishes. We got to fold the laundry. It's going to happen, but at least it's in proportion. Spiritually, spiritual stewardship, if we practice that, we're guaranteed that this stuff, the grimy stuff, is not going to kill our hearts. Does that make sense? And then, it's going to happen too. No one's perfect. Plenty of kitty litter. But once again, The practice of stewardship is we're going to be okay. We're going to be balanced in our world. Kitty litter stuff's going to happen. People will hurt us. We will worry about things. We will wonder about people's intentions. We'll just do all of that. So we're going to kill time. We just talked about Candy Crush like last week or something. I mean, yeah, that's a great way to kill time. It's going to happen. But we're taking care of business, do you see? We've got the foundations set. As we move into a new program year, how can we all make matters of heart and mind and body and spirit top priority for us? How can we make that commitment to ourselves, which I promise you is a kindness to everybody that we're going to meet? I believe that that is how we turn loneliness around and do a lot of other good things as well. In this upcoming program year, let us give each other the gift of meaningfulness, greater priority, greater commitment to that. What a great gift. What a great gift. Amen. And now let us turn to our beloved water communion, in which each of us pours water into a common bowl. The water is meant to symbolize our blood, our sweat, our tears, the things that have been precious for us in this past year, the things in this past year that have hurt us or have brought us joy, what we have worked hard for, what has been valuable to us. We pour these waters into a common bowl, the common bowl of our life as a community, that bowl which is saying something to you and to me, that you are welcome here, all of who you are, that you are invited to be here, to be seen and loved. And now it is up to you to accept that and to receive that into your life.
The Spirit of life come into our midst now as the ritual begins.
Spirit of life, come. As we remember beloved friends who died this past year, or those who have moved away, absent in body, but not in spirit.
Spirit of life, come as we expand our circle of concern to the city and the nation and the world, to the joys and sorrows of our animal brothers and sisters, and the well-being of our planet Earth, which is our mother. Let us recommit once again to the values of our Unitarian Universalist principles.
Spirit of life, come. Help us use this moment in time to open up a space in our hearts, to ask how we can grow more as individuals, how we can help make West Shore a stronger community, how we can make our world a better place.
So now our ushers are passing the pitchers so they can collect your water. As for this water we collect, during the year, we are going to be using it in child dedication rituals. That's our way of welcoming the youngest among us into our community and blessing them, blessing the way that they will go in their lives. And then I want you to know, at the close of this program year, in June of 2023, this same water that we're collecting today, it will go to help nourish the flowers that we will be exchanging in our annual flower communion ritual. Another ritual that is distinctively Unitarian Universalist. We have a plan to our liturgical year. We're opening it now, and then with our flower celebration, we will close it, and the water will be the common thread. So we're collecting the water, and we want to share some of the stories that you sent me, stories of your water. We each have one to say, but here's a couple that we can share with you right now. Elizabeth will start us off.
From Kelly Margaret Heikala. Did you know it takes 2 years for the water in Lake Superior to make it to Lake Erie? I love going to the beach because it makes me feel connected to my dad, who lives in Michigan near Lake Superior. Perhaps we have touched the same water as it moves into the ocean.
The stories of our water. Listen, from Elizabeth Gerenzer. My water comes from Lake Erie by way of my kitchen faucet. Many people in America, as well as other countries around the world, don't have that luxury of receiving clean water from a faucet. Instead, they are forced to walk for miles to water sources that are dirty or infested with disease. This has never been my experience, and for this, I am so grateful.
The stories of our water. Listen. From Ria Terranova Webb. A year ago, I happened upon an online watercolor course being offered for $27. I had dabbled in the medium in the past, but with little success. The visual arts frustrated me due to my lack of natural ability. At the time, we were a year and a half into the pandemic, and I was 1 year into my struggle with undiagnosable chronic pain. I needed something to ease my hypervigilance to daily discomfort that still colors my everyday. I figured $27 was a reasonable investment in a distraction. As I began to work through the daily online lessons, something began to shift within me. While my paintings are still primitive and simple, when I paint, my pain recedes a little bit, and I delight in creating birthday and greeting cards for my friends and family. The process of dipping a brush into water and paint to lay color upon a page has brought me joy and serenity to my soul. My jars of water sit ever ready.
The stories of our water. Listen, from Chelsea Jewell. I hope to celebrate my return to the church after almost 3 years, the universe having prevented me from coming 2 times earlier this year, but by bringing the water the most precious to me, tap water from my house. The fact that I can get drinkable, fluoridated even, water anytime I need it, as long as I pay the bills, that is amazing. I feel incredibly lucky that I don't have to travel to get water for my daily needs. I am sometimes amazed that the water treatment system kept working through the chaos and uncertainty of the early pandemic. Of course, it is also a reminder that more work needs to be done to address inequities that leave hundreds of millions of people without clean, reliable, and convenient water sources. So let it be.
The stories of our water. Listen. From Rachel Abernathy. Since my broken hip, I cannot hike. Swimming in the water in the pool of our condo is the high point of my day.
The stories of our water. Listen. From Andrea Hamre. My water represents the Cuyahoga River in Lake Erie in honor of our move to Cleveland in May. Living near Sokolowski's Overlook at the north end of Tremont, we walk along the river daily. We are rooting for the ecological and social health and vitality of these waters.
The stories of our waters. Listen, from Grace Durfee. My water represents water from the lovely saltwater pool where I swam in Tucson, Arizona in the beginning of July. This was the high point of my summer. My daughter-in-law and I flew out to help Katie, my younger son's fiance, with wedding planning and bridal gown shopping. It was a beautiful distraction from my worry and waiting. I just had a troublesome mammogram and was scheduled for 2 biopsies upon my return. While the rest of my summer had some highlights, it's been focused on my diagnosis of breast cancer and the beginning of treatment.
And now we conclude our water communion ritual with these words that come from Carolyn McDade. Carolyn McDade was one of the folks who created this ritual 40, 50 years ago. And so she writes, "Coming home. We're coming home to the spirit in our soul. We're coming home, and the healing makes us whole, like rivers running to the sea. We're coming home. We're coming home to create a world of joy and peace, where the power of justice does release, love abounding, wars forever ceasing. We're coming home. We're coming home, like rivers running to the sea. We are coming home." So may it be. Amen.
Please join me in saying our chalice extinguishing words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry with us until we meet again.
So please join us for the picnic after this service. Everything will be indoors except for the pie throwing. That'll be in the courtyard. And now for our benediction. Blessings to you as we begin our new program year. Let us love each other when our tears flow. Let us sweat together when we are working to accomplish many different kinds of things, building up this community, making it better than it's ever been before, and also making our corner of the larger universe better also. Let us also be sure to devote ourselves to what is most meaningful and hold each other accountable to that, so that the pebbles and the kitty litter don't take over, aren't allowed to take over. Like rivers running to the sea, let's come home. So may it be. Amen.